Hello, welcome back to XCOM 2. Last time we saved some civilians / watched the resistance do it for us. Then we discovered that we needed to hack a codex with a skulljack to get more info on the Avatar project. We learned that the project was essentially the alien master race is trying to create new bodies for themselves because their old ones are dying, and we even captured one of these bodies when it came to fight us. We'll go back to investigate that a little bit more. First, we just have to do a supply raid-esque mission where an alien UFO has landed, and we've just popped over to go and steal anything that's inside because we do need a few supplies to complete some of our upgrades at the moment. Started our fight off by trying a Deadeye on a Purifier that was in a group of enemies, but it didn't explode, unfortunately. Mistake number 2 here has this obsessive reload trait that I think just makes him reload after every shot, but that's actually useful because normally you can't reload after shooting, so I'm not sure if that's actually a negative trait at all. Anyway, so the fighting will now get started. As you can see, we're on top of a cliff, so we have an extra chance to hit against everything. This Spectre manages to somehow get hit a couple of times. We shot it with 2 Overwatches. It dodged one, but got hit twice somehow, and one was a critical, so not quite sure what happened there. I think we might have had a glitch in our favour of some kind. I'm going to send Nariko down from the cliff, even though it would give us an advantage to be up there, just so we can outflank things and get things moving. Wanted to kill this shield bearer right away, so he doesn't buff everyone's health, since that's going to speed things up quite a lot. And from down there, Nariko can do some more damage later. Constantinus is back on the field today after his holiday. He's now shaken off his psychological damage and is ready to kill more aliens, and he gets one there. Napoleon's got a nice outflanking shot on a codex that's coming in from our right. There's a codex and a Spectre over there. Now there are 2 codexes, of course. So that should be easy enough to take down, even though they're on our level. The only pressure is that now there is a time limit. As you can see in the upper right, the UFO is sending out a distress beacon, and we need to turn it off because I guess the aliens only respond after a while of hearing the distress beacon. So if we make it a short enough one, they'll just ignore it. Mistake number 2 kills one of the codexes there, but then the Spectre takes revenge by shadow binding him. I'm sure that hurts, even though it's not fatal. In this case, the Spectre couldn't run to cover because the cover in this area was all destroyed by fires. So Kojiro, his fellow sniper, gets mistake number 2 back on his feet with that kill. There we go, time to head inside the UFO. Nariko leads the way and ends up running right into a pod of enemies since we couldn't see them until we were right next to them due to all of the obstacles. So they take up positions around her and she's now in a bit of danger, but I can use here run and gun to quickly fall back to cover and then still get a chance to take part in the fight. The problem I have here is that a lot of my squad is still quite far away, so they can't really help us this turn. Took a shot against that trooper there. Unfortunately here Nariko misses. A 3 damage miss though because of her special weapon. I managed to move Nagiko up to a useful position in heavy cover, and there she can see that priest and even outflank it. Decided to take a shot. We can't kill it. I think even with a critical we wouldn't kill it here, and we don't get one either, but still a good start. However, the priest shoots back by immediately mind controlling Nagiko, so now Nagiko's on their side unless we can kill the priest during this next turn. The Purifier sets the room on fire and actually burns one of the troops on their own side without hitting us, so good work. And a shield bearer somewhere out of our sight buffs everyone's health, so that's annoying. A shot is taken and it hits Napoleon there next to Nariko. Then a stun lancer appears. Constantinus was in Overwatch in the door. The stun lancer dodges it, so it doesn't take much damage, but in the other door just over to the left we also have Troll Hunter in Overwatch who can take a shot. He, by the looks of things, can't even see what he's shooting at, but he manages to get a direct hit, so that's the lancer taken down before it could either kill Napoleon or damage Nariko there. Next up, Nariko throws a grenade forwards, looking to damage the priest. I can't see it because Nagiko was the only one who had line of sight, but I know it's there somewhere. The grenade plus that shot from Napoleon deals with the trooper as well. Constantinus puts a grenade forwards now. This bigger explosion has a better chance of hitting the priest. We still haven't killed him because Nagiko's still under mind control, so we know we need to do more. What I ended up doing was sending Troll Hunter on a dangerous run forwards into the next room, luckily not triggering any more enemies, but he can now see the priest. It's got 2 health and it's still there in the corner, and he's going to follow Constantinus' lead by putting another grenade out there, just because we can damage the priest and the Purifier at the same time. We critical the Purifier and it's down to 1 health. The priest is also on 1 health because even though we did get a killing blow, it uses stasis to survive. Now as for the Purifier, we can see it with Nagako, who's back on our side. Just need to reload there and take a shot. You always might as well reload if you're not going to move during your turn, because you can shoot after reloading. And indeed, there goes the Purifier. Now just had to finish off the Priest with a grenade in the next turn after it tried to run away. And as for the Shield Bearer, it came to join us, and then Naruko just shot it in the face with a critical. So that was the end of that. That's this end of the UFO secured. We proceed on into the next room and disable the distress beacon. Now to finish the mission, just one more group of enemies to fight, and they were on the other side of the UFO. They start coming in as they spot us. Constantinus in Overwatch gets a good early shot on the sector pod, removing some of its armour. Unfortunately, we were towards the end of our turn here, so we couldn't do too much against them immediately. Trollhunter, though, was able to act, and he's going to act decisively. I used Chain Shot on the sector pod to take 2 shots at it. The first one hits, removing the last of its armour. Then we get another hit, taking it down to near death. So now we just need to hit it with something else, and that will be the end of that. First, it gets to take a turn. This is the first time a sector pod's actually had a turn against us, I think. It stands up, does something with its legs there that I don't think does anything, and now it starts charging its super mega death laser. It's also glitching out because it's stuck in the ceiling, but oh well. So that laser, I guess, won't fire until next turn because it's just looking at us for now. Some more fire comes in, but nothing manages to hit us, and Kajiro very simply shoots the sector pod again and it explodes. So that's that threat removed. Next up, Constantinus advanced to find a trooper hiding in a corner here, and he guns him down. Then Naruko advanced to shoot a Purifier standing just next to where that trooper was. Her hair trigger thing on the weapon triggers, allowing her to shoot again this turn, and she has a perk that allows her to move if she gets a kill, get an extra move that is, so she moves up even further and uses rapid fire to kill the heavy mech, leaving just a trooper, and the rest of the squad managed to take it out between them, with Napoleon getting the final miss that brought the battle to an end. So we stole the UFO for all intents and purposes. We've now got what it's made of, so we have loads of resources here, very good stuff, and with these resources we can now buy the final armor upgrade, this powered armor that gives us all a bit more health, and I think a point of armor, so all damage taken is reduced as well. Trollhunter's hopefully still wearing his suit under all that power armor. I know he is. So with that, our survivability has gone up a little bit more. Time to head on to the next mission. While we wait for something to come up, our science team has gone and poked the Avatar a bit more and discovered a genetic sequence inside that will allow us to open the psionic gate properly so we can actually walk through it. We need to have a living Avatar for it to work though. While capturing one could be difficult, we realised that the stasis suit we took from the alien black site a while ago is actually an avatar in itself, or at least that was realised at some point. Not sure if the game says it up to now. But what we can do is put the commander's consciousness in that blank empty avatar, so he'll have it as a body, and that will allow him to take a squad through the gate. And the only reason we can actually do this is because the commander's been in the alien's psychic network before, back before the game started, when they were forcing him to play XCOM 1 or whatever it was they were doing on him, experimenting on him. He was plugged into their command system, so has the ability in some way to do it again, or at least it probably won't kill him. So we're going to do that and really just see what happens. We have no idea what's actually on the other side of the gate. We're just presuming that if we bust in there and blow something up, it will interfere in some way. So that's all our plan is at the moment. But there's also something else going on. It seems the aliens are getting bored of humanity resisting their rule, and they've come up with a plan to kill everyone. What they're going to do is pretend that they found a cure for death and then broadcast some sort of news bulletin telling everyone to come into the aliens' secret chambers all over the place. They're running these strange clinics that they use as a front for doing their abductions, and they're going to try and abduct everyone at once in some way in order to get all the DNA they could possibly hope for to help them work on the Avatar project and just get rid of humans because I guess they don't want them around anymore. So we need to stop them from doing this, as you might expect, and the Resistance Council gives us a few hints about how to do it. He tells us there's this particular tower that if we go and hack will allow us to interfere with their broadcast and stop them from telling everyone to go into their mysterious abduction chambers. The council unfortunately appears to have been compromised because the aliens then burst in mid-broadcast to shoot things up. But still, the work has been done. Now we know that we can stop the aliens from killing everyone, and then hopefully use the Psionic Gate to deal some sort of fatal blow to the aliens if such a thing is possible. So these are the final missions in the game. I'm not going to do them right now because I wanted to finish some research. You can see I'm researching the plasma rifle right now, which would be handy for such missions. So I went back to scan for a bit first. As we do, we get another one of these foiled covert actions that we need to deal with, and after the disaster that was the last attempt to deal with one of these, I was a bit cautious. Luckily things got off to a much better start. The enemy reinforcements spawned where it said they were going to spawn, behind us, and then we could just run away from them really, and for whatever reason they don't really pursue you if you just leave them where they spawned. So we moved on. We had to go down into this street, but there were a couple of enemies in the way. Constans blasts one, and the other one, a Purify, gets taken out by Lordovix here, so that cleared our path to carry on. We crossed the street and climbed up into a building on the other side. From there, we started combat with 2 Mutons, then I think another Muton and a Trooper as well. Now these are more dangerous enemies because they could throw grenades at us. One of them uses suppression on Constans, so now he can't run away. That was a bit dodgy. Then some Lost appear, and this Muton loses his Overwatch by shooting one of the Lost, so that was very nice. The Lost now once again providing a helpful service to us. Because Constans couldn't move, I decided to just stand here. I hunkered him down and hope that the Muton firing at us just stopped. And indeed, the presence of the Lost seems to make that a distinct possibility, because the Mutons obsess over firing at the Lost rather than us. One of them even used suppression on them, which was a complete waste of time. So, with that combat taking place, all of the enemies waste their action points, and we are able to run away from that encounter. That went surprisingly well, and it's all thanks to those lovely Lost. There was a strange event here where an enemy was trying to shoot one of the Lost, but the Lost was just levitating up into the sky, and he actually levitates all the way up to join one of his friends here in coming to attack us. Lordovix tries to take one down in the door, and gets an absolutely abysmal miss. Still, we could now just walk past them and go to the extraction point. Constans on the way out gets a critical on a Muton from the extraction point, so a nice parting gift, and after that everyone gets away with no trouble. So that went much better than last time. With everything sorted, we're just back to scanning, waiting for that research to complete and skipping through anything that happens. And this will require us to be very brave because a guerrilla op came up. We're going to ignore it, and then when the game says, "Are you sure you want to ignore it?" with this big scary message box, we're going to say yes, we're definitely going to ignore it, if only to see what actually happens. As it turns out, nothing happens. I was expecting at least the Avatar project to jump up a couple of notches because we didn't do anything. I think it's because that guerrilla ops system is a rough copy and paste of XCOM 1's terror attacks system, and there you actually do have to stop them, otherwise you do have dire consequences, and in this game you don't. It just kind of still says that you do because it's a hangover from XCOM 1 or something. Anyway, so we do complete the plasma rifle research. This allows us to have our regular assault rifle type weapons be a little bit more powerful. I think it does 1 or 2 more damage. And we also get a pistol upgrade for our sharpshooters. There are some other things we could research, like the weapon for the grenadiers and the sniper rifles, but for this campaign I don't think we really need them, so I'm just going to leave them. Now, before we go into the final missions, I wanted to take a look at everyone who's fallen so far. We had, of course, recently Sigvold. According to the game, he died exactly at the time of Jesus Christ's birth, which surely means something. We also had the Uruk Mailman and Yennefer, who died in the very first mission. Then we had Chuck Buck, who died trying to get us some stuff due to my own brazenness, effectively. He could have survived. Sugatsura just had plain old bad luck and got shot while he was in cover one day. Murderous Mike got killed because of me. I walked him in front of a turret while he was on low health and the turret was on Overwatch because I am very bad at this game. Our Reaper got killed, I think, by a Faceless at some point, while too far out from the main squad. Offie D was killed by one of the mortar attacks from the mechs in a tragic event during one of the story missions. Xenon killed through the wall by a couple of stun lancers in a nice glitchy death. Next we've got the Dark Artillery Lord, who went as he would have liked in a big explosion in the middle of one of our fights. Mari was just shot by gunfire when she was outflanked on one of the retaliation missions. Praetor Mox died along with Sigvold on that recent foiled extraction, but we don't really care about him. And lastly, our most recent death was Takehisa Todo, another Reaper who was outflanked and killed by Codex spam. So that's everyone who's given their life for the cause of XCOM, on top of all the nameless people who died in the Resistance, who I suppose we don't really care about here on this ship. At least we are going to try and stop the alien plan to kill everyone, starting right now with part 1 of the 3-part final mission. You can spend some intel here to get a few bonuses as you go in. Seems to be the only mission that allows you to do that. Pretty interesting. And I had enough intel to buy all of them. So we can only send 3 squad members. I've got a Nariko's Treasure themed team of Nariko, Kijiro and Masako. And we're here on top of the television center, whatever it is these aliens are using to broadcast their message. And we need to get to the other end of the building to hack a thing. If only they'd dropped us off there, but they've only gone and dropped us in the wrong corner of the roof, so now we have to walk across the top of the roof, killing everything in our way to get this hack going. We've got an Andromedon, 2 sectoids, and another Andromedon with 2 codexes right in front of us. I thought that maybe if I just sat around for a bit, they'd walk away, and I could actually stay in concealment and dodge those pods altogether. That plan didn't work because one of them moved to a position where their vision area was covering where I already was. When this happens, if you don't move, they'll see you, so you might as well just let them see you by shooting them first. So here we go, getting things started. Masako throws a grenade up, taking most of the health off from both of the sectoids, and the Andromedon loses a bit of armor and like 1 health. I did have Nariko on kill zone, pointing at these people, hoping to get overwatches, but I forgot that because she has the perk that keeps her in concealment when the rest of the squad breaks concealment, she actually can't overwatch, because when you're in concealment you don't overwatch until you've been discovered, so we missed a few potential shots there. Kijiro takes a lightning hand shot at one of the sectoids and brings it down, very nice. The sectoids are particularly dangerous with such a small squad, because if someone gets mind controlled, that's a big proportion of our strength gone. He also gets a critical hit on a codex, preventing it from cloning, so that was great. Now it's time for the alien turn. There's an Andromedon on the other side of that roof over there who gets a critical hit on Masako, even with her in cover. That was very nasty. She is now near death. One of the codexes teleports over and now outflanks Nariko, thus revealing her. It's going to use Psionic Bomb to take Masako and Kijiro out of the fight for the next turn. They'll need to move to escape the damage, but this Andromedon goes into Overwatch, so now it's too dangerous to actually move them, unless we can remove the Overwatch by damaging the Andromedon. That's going to be up to Nariko. She rushes up to outflank it and can see it through this window here. I can even now use rapid fire to take 2 shots at it. This will give me a chance to kill the first stage of the Andromedon at least. It's 280 something % chance to hit shots. The first one hits, that's the Overwatch removed, and the second one hits as well. So now it's just the Andromedon shell, a slightly less powerful enemy to worry about. With that done, we can avoid the Psionic Bomb, but we can't fire because our weapons are disabled. Time for the next alien turn. That Andromedon over there is still moving up and being really annoying. It's quite easy for it to outflank us from over there. It manages to miss Masako, so that's helpful. She might have actually died if that had hit. Then this Codex teleports behind us. Masako's outflanked, but the Codex manages to miss as well. That would have been a very hard shot to miss. Must have had such a high probability to hit. We are just plain old lucky there. Then Nariko is under threat from this Andromedon shell, but not really. It punches everything except her because of her untouchable perk. It just can't make physical contact with her. Very awkward, I suppose. Now Kojiro moves to outflank the Codex that outflank does. We get a critical with the pistol, but not enough to kill it, and a clone appears. Luckily the clone appears quite far away, it's not behind us or anything. Now time for the next alien turn. That other Andromedon is still moving up. In this case it's not going to attack us this turn because it's just trying to get closer. One of these codexes teleports into a nice position with heavy cover that also outflanks Kojiro, takes a shot and hits. Not too much damage, even though it did critical him, so he's down to something like half health. He's then even more outflanked by that other codex, but it's not going to attack, it uses psionic bomb. So once again we're going to have to run and miss a turn of attacks. This is really nasty when this is most of our squad this is happening to, but Nariko is still gradually carrying things back over here. She's having some trouble with the Andromedon shell because now she can be attacked by it. Her untouchable perk is gone. She loses 6 health, but she can tank that much damage okay. So she is now going to be easily able to deal with the shell. Meanwhile, Masako gets out of the psionic bomb's radius and blows up one of the codexes with a grenade. Here's Nariko. We're going to try and bring her back towards the fight because we definitely need her to help. And she has a nice easy shot on that shell to get rid of it. There we have it, 100% chance to hit. As for Kojiro, he also needs to dodge out of the psionic bomb radius, and then I'm going to use his pistol with an outflanking shot on this codex to get rid of it. So with all that done, it's now just that one Andromedon out there that we need to worry about. But it's still quite a worry because it's one of the more powerful enemies in the game, so let's see what it does. It moves up to that nice heavy cover position, then it turns to take a shot at Nariko. She though is now untouchable because she just got a kill, so no damage is done. Very good. I used a couple of grenades on the Andromedon to remove its armor. Thought I might remove its heavy cover, but it was indestructible and it ended up moving out of the cover anyway. In this case it's going to run towards Nariko here, who's got herself some good cover, but it's right on the edge of a ledge, very precarious. The Andromedon goes for the punch and somehow misses despite destroying everything around it, so that went surprisingly well. And now we can turn things back in our favour. A critical hit from Masako takes out stage 1 of the Andromedon, and then Nariko and Kojiro's attacks together are enough to destroy the shell. Finally time to start moving on from the initial position. We go up into the building that we killed the Andromedon in earlier, and on the other side there's yet another Andromedon and a couple of Mutons, so time to fight with these guys. We didn't have any actions we could take against them right away, so they're going to get the first shots off. The Andromedon gets up on the roof and then misses Nariko. Very good. There's also a Muton in the room with her, and it's also going to go for the miss. She's in heavy cover because that TV camera is particularly sturdy, I suppose. The other Muton is going to make a run for it. It jumps down into the room and runs past her, but Masako is further back on Overwatch, and now she can take a shot. She criticals that Muton and gets rid of it. Very good. Nariko then goes up onto the roof and uses another rapid fire in order to do loads of damage to the Andromedon, getting through its first stage right away. It jumps down into the room below and starts running across Kojiro's line of fire. He gets a load of damage with a shot from his pistol. These upgraded pistols are very effective. It almost gets to Masako, but not quite. It's one tile away, so it has to use its extra action just ambling around. It manages to kind of surround her here with so much acid that she can't really move very well, but she doesn't need to. She just takes a shot at the shell, and that is enough to kill it thanks to the damage Kojiro already did. As for the other Muton, Nariko uses a run and gun to just walk behind it and blast it just like that. There we go. There was also a turret just outside this door overlooking the final part of this complex, but it goes down in one hit thanks to a nice critical from Nariko. She seems to get lots of criticals. I think it's because we're using that special weapon. Now, long story short, I advanced very cautiously and slowly, but actually didn't encounter any more enemies. There are some more because the aliens still get a turn, but I guess we just never saw them. And we end up getting into the final room, which was unguarded surprisingly, and we can now just hack the terminal here. Decided to gamble and try and get that large reward, since the reward doesn't matter because we can't really use it. And we didn't get it, so that's a shame, but we have now hacked their TV station. It's actually a psychic TV station, as you can see from this giant psychic laser, which we managed to change colour with our hack in some way. A side effect of us taking control of this place is it has some sort of effect on the psychic energy in the area, and that kills lots of nearby Advent soldiers because they're all psychically connected to the alien command network. It also deactivates a nearby robot for some reason, not really sure what this thing is. Now the aliens, because they're absolutely mad, decide to go ahead with their broadcast anyway, even though they should know that we have compromised their broadcast station. So they just try and make their speech about "we've cured death, aren't we the best?" But XCOM cunningly spliced in lots of photographs and footage taken from various battlefields and black sites, showing that the aliens are probably being a little bit nefarious with all of these corpses they've got in these pods and such. The human population, the majority of it, has been living under a totalitarian alien rule for a while and presumably doesn't know that stuff like this was going on. They should have noticed that people were being abducted, but I don't think they did. Now they've finally got the proof that they need, and they're just going to punch the alien representatives in the face. And this will hopefully drum up lots more support for the Resistance and generally make our world situation a bit better, but that's not really what we're here for. We need to move on and get into that psionic gate and see what's on the other side, which we'll be dealing with in the next and most likely final part.